Welcome back to another video. My name is Gordon Frayne, and today we're jumping into our Bitcoin and cryptocurrency weekly market update for the week of Friday, May 10th, 2024. It's been another interesting week as always in this space. So let's dive into the content. As always, if you enjoy it, please make sure to smash the thumbs up button below, hit that subscribe button, and hit the bell notification icon so you can get notified every time we drop a new video. We're dropping a video pretty much every single day on the channel, so you're going to want to get notified when they drop so you can stay on top of this rapidly evolving space and hit your crypto goals. So we're currently sitting with a Bitcoin price of just under 61,000 US dollars. We are down about 1.5% on the week. So we were sitting ever so slightly above 61K this time last week. Ethereum has dropped just below $3,000, currently sitting at 2,908. And BNB continues to be outperforming Solana over the past few weeks. BNB itself up about 1% and Solana up about 4% on the past 7 days. When we look at the overall crypto market cap, zooming in here, we can see that we were sitting at about 2.29 trillion overall market cap last week, and we're currently sitting just below that here at 2.26 or 2.29 as it's being stated here. So pretty much, relatively no movement here in overall crypto market cap over the past week or so, just down ever so slightly. We did peak up above 2.42 trillion during the week here. On Tuesday, we can see that we were hitting above 2.42 trillion before retracing back down ever so slightly. So, bit of a steady market over the past week or so. We did see Bitcoin pumping about a week ago. It's leveled off since then. We did see it back up to above 62K a couple of days ago, and we've retraced ever so slightly again since then, but lots of movement and lots of stuff going on. Fear and Greed Index is currently sitting at a score of 66. As of May 10th, we were down below this at about 54 last week. But obviously, with that little bit of a pump about 7 to 10 days ago, we have seen greed going back up again ever so slightly. We're still not quite near those highs of the March timeframe when we were seeing Bitcoin, above 72,000. We were seeing fear and greed up above 76 to 81. So, still down at a score of about 66. Still more greed than fear, but it has begun to taper off over the past couple of weeks a little bit. Looking at the top gainers and losers of the past week, we definitely have a bit of a mixed bag when it comes to gainers and losers. There have been some altcoins that have outperformed over the past 7 days, with Render leading the way when it comes to the top 100 cryptos. So, some of these gaming and AI tokens like Render and Akash Network up 33 and 37% over the past 7 days, relatively high performers. We've got Toncoin up about 20%, Arweave up about 18%, Caspa up 14%, Near Protocol up 8.6%, Monero making some bounces back after some bad news a few weeks ago. It's up 7.6%. We've got the Graph up 7%, Injective up about 6.3%, SingularityNet up 5%, Solana up 4%, as we mentioned, Fetch up 4%, Doge up about 3%. So lots of good performers here in the top 100. AI tokens making up, some of the larger gainers here, as well as some of the layer ones like Near and Injective performing pretty well. A couple of meme coins sprinkled into the mix like Dogecoin as well, and there's been some pretty good gainers. But on the other side of the fence, we do have some significant losers of the past week. We've got Wormhole down 17%, Lido down 16%, Bonk down 15% as a meme coin, ICP down about 14% as well, Helium and Pendle down 11 and 12%, Optimism down 11% as well, Quant down 9%, Celestia down 8%, Polygon down 7%, Sui down 7%, Hedera down 6%. So definitely a very mixed bag when it comes to this week's performance. the AI narrative and the layer one narrative may be playing out a little bit better for some of these top gainers. And then some of the losers, we've seen some pretty big tokens in the mix here in terms of losers as well. So very much a mixed bag when it comes to altcoin performance over the past 7 days. And it'll be interesting to see what direction we take as we move into the next week or so. Bitcoin dominance is down ever so slightly on the week as well. Maybe roughly just ever so slightly, because we're sitting at 54.6% dominance for Bitcoin right now. This time last week, we were looking at this particular candle where Bitcoin did make a move upwards after some decline over the previous kind of 7 to 14 days. So we are still sitting above 54%. We did get as high as hitting that 55% mark in the past week or so, in the past few days, but retracing back down to about 54.6% in terms of Bitcoin dominance. Again, it being more of a Bitcoin strong market thus far this bull cycle. And we're seeing, if we zoom out to the weekly chart versus the daily chart, we can see that Bitcoin dominance has been rising since the beginning of 2023, and it's been on a very, very strong uptrend as a result. So again, will we see this continue to play out in terms of Bitcoin dominance? When will we see alt season kick in? We'll have to wait and see what happens, but Bitcoin is holding strong. Its dominance still above 54.6%. And, that is reflected when we jump over here into the altcoin season index. We can see that over the past month or so, it's been a Bitcoin strong month with an altcoin season index score of 24. If this was a lot higher, it would obviously be more of an altcoin month. But sitting at 24, it's obviously more of a Bitcoin month when it comes to overall market strength. Scrolling down and looking at the top 50 coins performance over the past month and zooming out, we can see that Bitcoin itself is down about 12.9% on the past month. Of course, a lot of that thanks to its decline since reaching those new all-time highs above $70,000. We've seen a bit of a retracement in the immediate aftermath of the halving in the past couple of weeks. So Bitcoin itself down about 12.9% on the month. We can see some outliers in terms of performance. We've got Render Token and Pepe up 20% on the month, Tron up 16%, HBAR up 5%, Near Protocol up 4%, and they make up the majority of the gainers of the past month. And then on the lower end of the spectrum, with the worst performers over the past month, we've got Stacks down 33%, Tau and Filecoin down about 32%, Sui down 32% as well, Uniswap down about 27%, AVAX down about 27%. We've got Cardano down 23%, Link down 21%, Shiba Inu down 19%, Ripple down 18%, Fetch down 17%. So again, over the past month or so, it has been more of a bear market than a bull market in a 30-day time frame, with Bitcoin dominance continuing to hold strong at that 55% level. But the majority of altcoins are down over the past month or so. And, we're really seeing kind of moves being made with some altcoins that are being able to hold stronger than others, setting themselves up for new higher highs as we move through the bull cycle. But, some of the altcoins that are not holding quite as strong are ones that you may want to be considering axing from your portfolio. So moving on to the narratives month-to-date performance for May, we can see that the strongest narratives of the month so far are artificial intelligence. And again, I think we could see that with some of the top gainers here with Render and Akash being the strong contenders there, along with the Graph and Singularity Net and Fetch. All of those tokens performing well over the past week, making sense why the AI narrative is still the strongest narrative of the month so far. We've got oracles in here. We've got decentralized physical infrastructure. We've got identity, liquid staking derivatives, privacy, real world assets also continuing to play out strong. DeFi 1.0, layer ones, centralized exchanges, and GameFi. Down the lower end of the table here, we've got FriendTech, GambleFi, wallets, derivatives, and ordinals all negatively performing in terms of narratives month to date. As always, it's important to just keep an eye on the different narratives that your assets are a part of, because all of these narratives will have their own day in the sun when it comes to the bull cycle, and you're going to want to know when to get in and out of positions in order to capitalize on those narratives the most. Next up, moving over to the Bitcoin spot ETFs. And again, we did see a little bit of a decline and outflows from the ETFs last week when it came to the overall ETF performance. We do see BlackRock have begun purchasing again in the past couple of days. We do see that their new all-time highs for the amount of Bitcoin held by BlackRock specifically is now above 274,632 Bitcoin. Again, we did see Grayscale continuing to bleed a little bit, but we did actually see Grayscale purchasing some Bitcoin in the past few days as well. And we would expect the flippening of BlackRock to Grayscale to ultimately become the number one spot ETF in the next few weeks. We have Fidelity in second place with 152,000 Bitcoin. We've got ARK shares and Bitwise in the middle of the table here with 43,000 and 33,000 Bitcoin respectively. And then on the lower end of things, we've got VanEck, Valkyrie, Invesco, Franklin Templeton, WisdomTree, and Hashdex. So again, when we look at the overall intake of Bitcoin accumulated by the 9 new spot ETFs, excluding Grayscale, we now see numbers totaling 536,583 Bitcoin that have been accumulated by the 9 new spot ETFs. Again, a huge number of Bitcoin when we actually put it in perspective, even though the buying pressure has dwindled in the past week or two. To have accumulated more than 2.5% of the entire Bitcoin supply in 82 trading days is a pretty phenomenal feat. And, the numbers that we're going to be seeing in total here could easily be over 1 million Bitcoin by the end of this calendar year. So jumping up and looking at the actual flows from the past few days, we can see yesterday's numbers. Specifically, we did see outflows from Grayscale continuing, but we did see BlackRock, Fidelity, and the other ETFs continuing to purchase Bitcoin, and the net flows being negative 180 thanks to 696 being sold off by Grayscale. Again, looking at the numbers here, we did see bigger sell-offs in the past 2 weeks. And again, last Friday, we did actually see net positive inflows and a significant candle here in terms of positive inflows for that Friday. We did see Monday start off strong this week as well. However, we did see ever so slightly negative on Tuesday, positive Wednesday, negative Thursday, ever so slightly. And obviously, we're yet to see the numbers for end of day here Friday. But I think the pressure of the sell-offs that we saw in the past 2 weeks has not been as strong this week, obviously, and we're beginning to see a little bit of upwards price movement here after this dip in terms of overall Bitcoin flows. So lots of interesting stuff going on with the spot ETFs. We'll continue to see flows increasing over the coming weeks, in my opinion. And with the kind of boost of the Hong Kong spot ETF approval as well, we're seeing inflows there. Obviously not to the same extent as the US, but the US don't want to get left behind. They're seeing Hong Kong beginning to purchase up lots and lots of Bitcoin, and the Asian market being very positive towards capital inflows into this space. And obviously the US spot ETFs don't want to be letting them buy up all the available supply of Bitcoin. Finally, the last thing we're going to look at here is the cycle low multiple. And again, if you're first time here on the channel, what this chart is basically outlining is the lead up to the Bitcoin halving and the aftermath of the Bitcoin halving and the price action as a result of the lead up to and aftermath of the halvings in the past 3 eras or cycles, as we like to call them. The blue line representing era 1 or the aftermath of the 2012 halving, the orange line representing era 2 and the aftermath of the 2016 halving, and the green line here representing era 3 and the aftermath of the 2020 halving, and then obviously the red line here representing the current era or the current cycle that we are on. Day 0 here representing the day of the Bitcoin halving itself. And obviously, having had the halving just a couple of weeks ago, we are just ever so slightly 21 days after the Bitcoin halving here. And zooming out, the point that we're making with this graph is, again, just reminding everyone of the kind of parabolic moves that Bitcoin has made in the 12 to 18 months after each of the previous halving events. And if history is anything to go by, we are in for some upwards price trajectory over the course of the next 12 to 18 months. Obviously, past price performance isn't always indicative of future outcomes, but we know that the supply has now been cut in half from 900 Bitcoin entering circulation every day to only 450 entering circulation every single day with the amount of Bitcoin that is being mined. And in the aftermath of each of the previous halvings, when we saw that number get cut in half, we did see large parabolic moves to the upside. Obviously, all of this being bolstered by the fact that we've got these new spot ETFs that are accumulating huge amounts of Bitcoin. And again, when there's not enough Bitcoin to go around, when there's only now 450 entering circulation every single day, and when the buying pressure is coming from those ETFs and retail is yet to really kick in and start buying, I think we're in for a very large movement to the upside in the coming 12 to 15 months or so. So again, always worth keeping an eye on where we're at in the cycle trajectory or the era trajectory, and thinking about the type of returns that we might be in for seeing over the course of the next 12 to 15 months. As always, if you enjoy the content, please make sure to smash the thumbs up button below. That is the update for this week in terms of the Bitcoin and crypto market. Hit that subscribe button as well on your way out. It would mean the world because we're on the road to our first 10,000 subscribers, and it would mean the world if you subscribed and hit that bell notification icon so you can get notified every time we drop a new video. We're dropping videos pretty much every single day on the channel, so you're going to want to get notified when they drop so you can stay on top of this rapidly evolving space and hit your crypto goals. As always, we'll catch you in the next one.